about frontier land at this ocean on the other side. And so you can come closer, people. Nobody's going to bite you. And, sir, what is your name?
Gentlemen, my name is Christopher. Christopher Shields at y'all's service. I'm valet to George Washington, Washington's personal assistant. And so, due to my proximity to the general, I am aware of the lands we all come from, the Spanish territories in the western coast of the North American continent. George Washington, when he was a young lad, roughly 10 and 7, he would start a career as a land surveyor. And so being a land surveyor, of course, he would make, purchase, design maps of land, homes, plots, and of course the continent. And so it is very important to Washington to have many maps of the land. So I am familiar with where you gentlemen come from. I hear the journey from the frontier line can be a bit perilous. Not everyone gonna survive the journey. Did y'all have any casualty along the way?
Turbulence.
That sounds spooky. Well, it seems y'all are in good spirits in spite of it. You do feel welcome to the home of Washington. He welcomes all of his guests. He says, and I quote, "All guests are welcome to my Mount Vernon home, and guests can gratify their curiosities to their heart's content, as long as they are orderly and sober-minded." How old are you gentlemen, if you don't mind me inquiring? On average. So you're grown men. Virginia boys become boys between 10 and 5 and 20 and 1. So you men, of course, finding yourselves in the world, establishing career, I'm assuming purchasing land, hoping soon to build a house, and then you be ready to court a nice young lady. How does this sound to you gentlemen?
I like it in that order. It has to be in that order.
You'll find this is essentially how the general would do it, of course. Yes, yes. Now, do you understand I'm valet to the general, his body servant? These are my duties, which means I help Washington with anything he needs of personal nature. In the morning, I start off giving the general a shave with a straight razor. I help him with his wardrobe, his meals, his horse. I run errands, fetch people, deliver messages, help him in his private study, filling the ink, replacing parchment, stoking the fire, filling his cup, his plate, traveling with him. Frankly, anything Washington need of personal nature, I am required to tend to. I work a 7-day work week, about 16, 18 hour a day. Of course, I do not find myself paid for the labors rendered. On account of this being a plantation and Washington being a slave owner, and I am unfortunately regarded as property. I am considered a slave here. And on Washington's property, we must do what we're told, how we're told, when we are told. If we do not, it don't go good for us. I assure you.
Have you seen any kind of harmful kinds of things? Like, I know that in some plantations people were whipped. Do you know that, has that ever happened here?
Yes, this does happen at George Washington's plantation. General Washington himself is not beyond a threat, a verbal threat. The young ladies in the house who are not meeting house expectations, Washington will quite strongly verbally threaten them. If they do not meet expectations, they will be sent out to the harder physical labors. And of course, even here on this North Lane, Charlotte was whipped. You understand, Washington is the owner of the plantation. And I'm sure you men know, men who are owners of establishments, businesses, etc., typically they don't get their hands soiled. They hire other individuals to do the labors, to do the work. And that is the same on Washington's plantation. He hires the overseers, whose job is to make sure the slaves do what is expected, and they can use violence and force to achieve their goals. Of course, they have to use violence and force because we're people who are held in this situation we do not want to be in. And so, due to the cruel and evil design of slavery, force is a tool. And so you'll find that on this plantation, Charlotte was whipped right here on the North Lane. She was whipped on the North Lane, and you'll find that the overseer wrote a letter to Washington, but he wasn't present when this happened. he told the general, I will break her bone, her flesh, her spirit to achieve your goals in these plantations. Washington's response? You done rightly so. And should anyone else not follow suit, you have permission to do the same. Gentlemen, this is a plantation through and through. Washington is not wantonly cruel towards the slaves, meaning he ain't beating and battering and breaking them just to pass time. Oh no, not at all. He is a bit more practical when it comes to managing the slaves, but still, he is not without using violence and force to achieve the goals.
So if you have 7 days a week you're working, you don't have a chance to, what if you find a woman that you want to be with? The only time you'd be able to be together would be just at night?
Now, do understand, good sir, I don't mind having this conversation, but you'll find typically men are having these conversations over a pint. But I'll share at the bar, gentlemen. You'll find that I don't mind sharing while I'm sober. You'll find that as valet to the general, you'll find that it is expected that I remain a bachelor. A 7-day work week, 18-hour day. If I had wife and child, I could not be dutiful in my duties. Now, Washington is a man who is wrestling with his role as a slave master and a freedom fighter. Because remember, the Revolutionary War was for freedom and independence. But he still holds people in forced labor and bondage against their will for his wealth and comfort. And so you'll find that with him wrestling with his notions, he can sometimes not be as strict as Virginia slave owners can be. And he does allow me to find a young lady to occupy my attention. Now, do understand, of course, well, I'm sure you men can attest to this effect that women have on us, making us do brave, daring, and most foolish of things. You see, once I have this young lady in my life, I began to wonder if I have children with her, which I would love to have. My children would not be considered my own. Could you imagine? Your offspring, your children being considered some other man, able to do what he wants with your child when he wants, your wife, your kid. You come home the next day from your labors and your family is gone. And so we tried to run away from this plantation. Remember, gentlemen, Washington fought a war for freedom. And understand, freedom, it ain't free. Heavy is the price, the burden paid. Washington will bravely bear said burden. The cost, men's lives. Blood was shed for this country's freedom and independence. And so you'll find that I find a way to find freedom without dropping one drop of blood. To run away in secret. But here I am sharing y'all my story, gentlemen. I was discovered. And when Washington found out I tried to run away, he was quite cross with me. And so, not only did General Washington separate me from my love, but he stopped us both from having the same freedom he enjoys, the same freedom he fought for. So you'll find that though Washington is a man to admire when it comes to the war, he was successful when odds were against him. His character during the presidency was exemplary. He put personal need and desire to the side to consider what is in the best interest of the nation and its people. He was not concerned with self-advancement, financial gain. The nation, this American democracy, this grand experiment has to thrive. So you'll find that even as a farmer, Washington will raise the bar, the standard to Virginian farming in this 18th century, and these are all to his credit, things you can learn from and admire. But when it comes to being a slave owner, this is what Washington calls the one subject in his life that filled him with regret. So Washington is well aware of the nature of things.
From my backyard.
So now we have like 11 to 12 minutes to ourselves here. to take in the view here at Mount Vernon along the Potomac River. It's a pretty nice view. This is nice.
He's going to be going down there, and they're calling him. They're saying, "Hey, come on down. See those people two people way down there?" Okay, so he's going to go down there, and they're saying to him that tonight there's going to be a big party. So, you know, come on down, and he's keeps on going, and I don't know how long it's going to take him, but probably another 30, 40, 50 feet, and keep on watching him. Oh my God, what happened? So that is called the Ha-Ha Wall. So the kids of Washington would get people down there. So you want to see the Ha-Ha Wall, right?
I gotta do it. That was funny. I want to build one.
You did a pretty good job.
I got that.
Because we're gonna have to make a YouTube channel.
That's going on the channel.
Just disappeared.
He's gone.
You okay?
Did an excellent job.
Good acting.
Did you expect it?
You're welcome. Oh, there you go. Get a good one.
He's on the right.
So that's one of the reasons why he was reelected 4 times, because people did trust him a lot. Now, okay, this is a true story.
Eugene.